national organizer of the new Patriotic Party, lawyer Henry Nana Boache, taking his seat. All the political parties are here to ensure they speak true to power and to protect the very democracy that we all have subscribed to since 1992. We cannot allow and sit unconcerned to see any particular person breaking the rules in this country.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At least up to where the guy is sitting.
Please, we want to see what is going on. It's better if you go here. Thank you.
You can see from the faces of the NPP that they are not happy. And they cannot be happy until the constitution and democracy in this country is protected. And as well, all of us here guarded. We cannot be happy. And we can't pretend to be happy when we have all queued to vote to elect a president peacefully, sworn into office peacefully, occupy the Jubilee House peacefully, enjoying all the privileges as the president of the Republic of Ghana, and decide to connive with some unforeseen hands to destroy the very foundation that he wants to build on. It cannot happen in this country. This is a moment that if you are Ghanaian, you must be concerned. And if you are Ghanaian, you must be worried. And if you are Ghanaian, you must liaise with these political parties who want to fight and protect the constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Sekasana ye so mua na ye say no etete no pansam na nkaya ntoaba etoaba sumdiem so a president ewo Independence Square asumdiem or the asumdiem ne ko fie ko sha as president of the Republic, all because of the protection that 1992 constitution, you know, the amana. It is a minu mienu. Yen chomsam. Na yen shaha. Na yen shasa. Ononkwa di bitumi ne pe. Ebe say constitution ne dia na chese Ghana. Ebe fa ni ntoma pa Ifra. So very soon, we will begin the program.
You are sitting on the pallet that a camera is going to be. Don't you think it will shake? You are a media person. You are a media person. This one, I don't even have to comment. Chairman, I'm the one talking. So please,
I can see the Greater Accra Regional Secretary, Paka, also arriving. The eloquent Director of Communications of the new Patriotic Party, Mr. Richard Anyaba, and his lieutenants arriving. Shall we put our hands together for them as they mount the days? Thank you very much, Director. You are welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to hand over the microphone to the moderator of this important press briefing. Thank you.
So get up. Is it difficult? I don't even know why. So you want us to create a scene? So get up. There's a camera about to be here. You are sitting on it.
Good afternoon,
right now. Are you
ladies and gentlemen of the media.
Get up.
Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon for this press engagement. I want to wish you a very happy Workers' Day today. We've called you primarily to engage you ahead of the planned demonstration by the political parties on Monday, May 5th, 2025. The idea for this press conference is clear. The country is not in agreement with the President in his decision to remove the Chief Justice, thereby undermining the independence of the judiciary, the process undermining and destroying our democracy, threatening the survival of this Fourth Republic. We have a series of engagements. All the political parties will come up here and give you their statements, why they align with us to undertake this all-important demonstration, a signal to the President of the Republic that the political parties, the Ghanaian people, will not stand for him to destroy our democracy. And we believe that when you get this message today, because it bothers on our democracy, you, the media, will take particular interest, because without democracy, there will be no media. Media will completely be silenced. Media will completely be out of play. Your existence depends on the survival of this democracy. And we think that you must take this personally and drive the agenda to stop the President from this incursion, the attempt to demolish our democracy. The diminution of our democracy shall not be tolerated, and you must lead in this conversation. Before we go into it, as I indicated, there will be all the four political parties who come here and give their statements. We will appreciate your cooperation in that regard. Mostly because of time, they will not be able to do the three versions. So one after their statement, I would come to just try and do the best to be able to summarize it for the three stations to be able to get their bites out of their presentation. Before we get into it, ladies and gentlemen, let me invite Mr. Frank Davis, the chair of our party's Constitutional Legal Committee, who will be chairing this press engagement this afternoon, to give a brief opening remarks before we get into the statements.
Hey, I no retire, yo, I feel like boy, I don't be good at it. How's it? Madam, I did for you, boss. Can you imagine Parliament without you? These people come talking about
yes.
Japan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press, both print and electronic. I must first of all apologize on behalf of national leadership for the late start of this media encounter. The advertised time was 13 hours prompt. So we sincerely apologize. The circumstances were such that we couldn't start as and when we should have. So we apologize profusely. The national organizer of the party, Nana Boache, the Deputy Second Chief Whip of Parliament, Gary Ahmed Chaib, MP, Weja. Our own, still speaking, still strong, still energetic. I call him Bobo. Former MP Osekude.
Original Bobo.
Our illustrious Regional Secretary for Greater Accra, Odailai Parker France, the Regional Organizer for Greater Accra, Prince Obey, and of course, other national officers and regional officers gathered here. I believe that I need not go too much into the reason why we are here. Suffice it to say that there has been a systemic and determined attempt to assault the independence and integrity of the judiciary, the last bastion of our democracy. And Ghanaians would have to speak. There is nothing political about this. Nothing. Those who are going around full of insults, gratuitous calumny, vituperative aspersions, abusive language, leave them. That is not the work of educated people. We have to analyze and think about what is going on. It needs deep thinking and not insults. We have to agree and agree to disagree. That is human nature. But it is the depth of your intellectual capacity which should reign supreme, not the cacophony of loud noises and insensible talk. We have to rise to the occasion as Ghanaians. It is not for nothing that the Trade Union Conference at the Labor Day this morning, in the presence of His Excellency the President, John Mahama, made a clarion call on him to look at the decision to suspend the Chief Justice. And this was said right in his presence. So don't let anybody think that this is a political matter and that it is a two-horse race between the NPP and the NDC. So political actors will go and sit on radio and say whatever they like. It has to do with our judiciary. If this is how our judiciary is going to be played around with, like ping pong, I want to tell Ghanaians that there was a yesterday, there sure is a today, certainly there will be tomorrow. So let us always be guided by the incidents of history. I also have read on the GNA news portal that the former Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Sophia Akufu, who is an esteemed member of the Council of State, has also said that the processes unraveling the suspension and removal of a Chief Justice is unfair. And she has appealed to the 8-member Constitutional Review Committee set up by our President John Mahama to have a look at Article 146 and to amend that article in the Constitution so that the processes will be stringent. She has also advocated that even when or if any Chief Justice should suffer a removal from office upon stated grounds, there should be a right of appeal. The final arbiter should not be the committee. If GNA peddled a blatant falsehood, then I am repeating an innocent one. But that is what GNA has put on the news portal. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a crossroads. There is a siege on the judiciary, the third arm of government. We have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. They are supposed to have separate and distinct powers. Separation of powers, as we call it. Do we have to let the judiciary be hanged? No. Thank you very much. I'll call on my fellow colleagues to come and talk, and after we shall have a little dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman Frank Davis. Give us a quick moment. We need to just shift our podium. Press, can you give me a hand?
Yeah, that was a good one. Good one.
I understand UTV having challenges with your mic. Is it okay now? UTV, is it okay? Okay.
I'm sorry, they hit your face. So not to worry. Yeah, not to worry. I know you have.
Thank you very much, Chairman Frank Davis, again, for that remarks that you've made. We're going to move on, honestly, with a call on our first political party to come and give their statement. I will call on the National Democratic Party flag bearer Alhaji Prepon to come and give the NDP's statement.
Good afternoon, members of the press, and welcome to this critical press engagement on the future of our democracy. Since taking office, the NDC government has been acting in a manner reflective of its political campaign declarations, suggesting a command regime not akin to the 1992 Constitution. The NDC is deluding itself into equating its supposed super-parliamentary majority to a mandate of government beyond the scope of Ghana's 1992 Constitution. On their campaign trail, His Excellency President Mahama openly declared to appoint NDC judges in the judiciary and other constitutionally mandated institutions, even before he won the 2024 election. Unfortunately, the President and NDC interpret his landslide victory as a license to trample on the 1992 Constitution. Contrary to the President's understanding, the people's super mandate should reinforce the president's action to suspend the Chief Justice is thus fulfilling his premeditated political malice, which must not be countenanced by all well-meaning Ghanaians. The present despicable political act is a prelude to many more unspeakable malices in violations of the democratic principles espoused in our Constitution. Therefore, the NDP calls on His Excellency President John Mahama to revoke the suspension of the Chief Justice with immediate effect. Given the imminent danger to a democracy from the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama, the National Democratic Party calls on all members to participate. To participate in the Save the Judiciary demonstration on Monday, May 5th, 2025. Demonstrators should gather at the park opposite the Supreme Court, starting at 5 a.m. to send the loudest possible signal to the President and the NDC that we, the people, will not stand idly by while they invalidate the judiciary. Join us to demonstrate peacefully, yet with zeal and strength, to save our judiciary and this fourth Republican democracy from the destructive hands of the NDC. Long live NDP, long live the Fourth Republic, long live Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, a presidential candidate for the National Democratic Party, for that message, Elijah Frimpong Mohammed, for that very important and clear message. I'm saying, yeah, Elijah Kayano, the said, NDP, NTSC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, NDC for. The day you need to judiciary in the so. Now, Omako said the Omuyi Chief Justice no, said the engineer can, Montias or Bessa. I'm call no on the president and they said, and then the Chileano, or recently, now so on side decision now, why say was suspended Chief Justice no. Ghana, young queen, now they are all, you know, they are Mwa, the democracy. Mwa Ghana and Kosovo and Kosovo. Until Montias and they say, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, NDC for Munjai say Omotu NDC judiciary also, with the view say on be undermining the judiciary. Before I call the next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the minority leader of the new Patriotic Party, the mighty minority leader, Osahini Alexander Afenyo Markins, who joined us. We're very happy for his presence here. His leadership has given us a very strong presence in Parliament, and Ghanaians are appreciating what efforts they are doing to defend the larger interests of our democracy and our economy and our country at large. We appreciate them for that hard work they are doing. If you can give them a round of applause, I appreciate it. I'll be doing the introductions as we go, but now let me call on the PNP, Madame Janet Nabila, to come and give the PNP's message. The media, as I was saying earlier, this is an important engagement, and the message here we expect that you carry it forward. Put your own understandings to it, put your own existence, bet your own existence on what we're doing, because the absence of a strong judiciary exposes our rights to a strong president who would end up accumulating power at the executive and will abuse all of us, all of our rights, and undermine the power of judicial review. So please, this is not an MPP and other political parties matter. This is Ghana matter, and we expect that you participate strongly. Thank you very much, Madam Janet Nabla.
Good morning. I'm happy that the Communication Secretary of the NPP is emphasizing that this is not a demonstration for the NPP or political parties. It is a demonstration for Ghana. Members of the press, fellow Ghanaians, women and youth, and patriotic citizens across the length and breadth of this country. The People's National Party wishes to inform the public of our full participation in the 5th demonstration, a national call to duty, not just for political parties, but for every Ghanaian who believes in justice, democracy, and the rule of law. This is not a partisan demonstration. It is a people's demonstration, and the PNP cannot sit on the fence while President Mahama and the NDC attempt to hijack and destroy the institution of hope left for Ghana, the judiciary. President Mahama has already taken control of the executive and parliament. Now he is determined to seize the judiciary, as he promised a group of NDC lawyers during his campaign. He is appointing Supreme Court judges not to serve justice, but to carry out his party's agenda. Already, he has appointed 7 Supreme Court judges without a national demand or constitutional justification, only to balance out appointments made by former President Nana Addo. This is not balance, it is blatant politicization of justice. Worse still, President Mahama has acted with reckless disregard for due process. When a petition was filed against the Chief Justice, he refused to follow the legal process and bypass natural justice by rushing the matter to the Council of State. When a court injunction was filed, he disrespected the authority of the court and went ahead to suspend the Chief Justice. This is a president who believes he is above the law. To make matters even more disturbing, this same president has shown utter disregard for women in governance. Despite Parliament passing the Affirmative Action Bill to ensure 30% representation of women, President Mahama has refused to implement it. Instead, he has given a mere 10% of cabinet positions, 16% of ministerial roles, and 14% of deputy ministerial appointments to women. And now even the few women in leadership roles are being illegally removed by his government through unconstitutional and predetermined actions. The People's National Party says enough is enough. We are calling on Ghanaians. We are calling on all Ghanaians, especially women of Ghana, to rise and be heard. We call on women across political divides, including. We call on all Ghanaians, especially women of Ghana, to rise and be heard. We call on women across political divides, especially courageous women within the NDC, to stand up against this tyranny and injustice. The 5th demonstration is not for one party. It is for every Ghanaian who still believes in the rule of law, in equality, and a future that belongs to all, not just for the privileged few. President Mahama must know Ghana is not his private property. The judiciary does not belong to the NDC, and the women of Ghana will not be silenced anymore. Yes. Join us, rise with us. Let our voices tender through the streets of Maize Pit. Let Mahama hear our loud and clear, hear us loud and clear that Ghana belongs to the people, not to a political party. Thank you so much.
Hey, Jama!
That was a good one.
Thank you very much, Madam Jelix Nabla of the PNP. Next, we'll move to the Liberal Party of Ghana. We have Mr. Jerry Apau to represent the party. So Jerry Apau is the General Secretary of the Liberal Party of Ghana.
Thank you. Good afternoon. LPG firmly reject the ongoing attempt by the NDC administration to remove Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokonu. We believe this move is unjustified, politically motivated, and harmful to the independence of our judiciary. There is no credible evidence of wrongdoing to warrant her removal, and the process appeared to be a calculated and a political retribution, an agenda signaled during the 2024 campaign by the former president then himself. Of particular concern is the appointment of Justice Gabriel Scott Pormine as chair of the investigative committee. His prior involvement in the related case of Daniel Ofori versus the EcoBank compromises his neutrality and casts a shadow over the credibility of this process. We acknowledge the other members of the committee, but insist that the chair must be beyond reproach. There are many qualified justices who can lead this probe impartially. We therefore call on the President, John Dramani Mahama, to immediately replace Justice Scott Pormine. This is not politics. It is about safeguarding Ghana's beautiful democracy and upholding the rule of law. Let us defend our judiciary from partisan interference. Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Liberal Party of Ghana, for that strong message. We now move to the almighty new Patriotic Party, whose speech will be delivered by its national organizer, Henry Nana Kwachi.
Thank you very much, Richard. I will stand on the existing protocol. Over the past few weeks, President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC government have intensified their relentless crusade against the independence of Ghana's judiciary. An assault that has now culminated into a dangerous and unconstitutional move. The suspension and planned removal of Chief Justice of the Republic, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Iraba Isaba Saki Tokuno, by none other than Mr. Mahama himself. The NPP profoundly disapproves and vehemently condemns this blatant disregard for constitutional order, judicial sanctity, and democratic norms. This action taken under the pretext of Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution constitutes a grave threat to judicial independence, a reckless abuse of executive discretion, and an affront to the rule of law. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we consider this suspension not only unconstitutional, but procedurally flawed, but also politically motivated and executed with alarming disregard for the sanctity of due process. Additionally, Article 146 clearly stipulates that the President has no direct authority to suspend or remove the sitting justice of the Superior Court, including the Chief Justice, without recourse to an independent investigative mechanism. In such matters, the President is merely a transmitting agent, not a judge, prosecutor, a decision maker. Therefore, his suspension of the Chief of Staff is ultra-virus, unconstitutional, and must be rescinded without any delay. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the NPP also wishes to highlight a glaring ethical impropriety. This is very important, and my colleague mentioned it, and I'm going to re-emphasize it as well. In the composition of the 5-member committee tasked with the mandate to investigate the Chief Justice, the appointment of Justice Puaman as a chair is inappropriate. Justice Puaman, having authored a Supreme Court ruling directly connecting to the petition against the Chief Justice, cannot be deemed to be an impartial adjudicator on this matter. His involvement erodes public interest and represents a conflict of interest. The refusal to recuse himself, despite the availability of other qualified justices of the Supreme Court, suggests a deliberate manipulation of the process to secure a determination that is already preconceived. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the NPP wishes to express concern over a deeply troubling and undemocratic posture adopted by the President towards Ghana's judiciary, which reflects a dangerous mindset and a diabolical agenda to manipulate the courts for political expediency. Addressing the closing ceremony of the 3rd Annual Lawyers' Conference of the NDC,
in Akosombo, the former president, the then former president, who was then the NDC flag bearer, made troubling statement that revealed his intentions to pack the court with politically aligned judges should he return to power. In his own words, he said, currently the judiciary has failed with judges who are favorable to the NPP because this government has deliberately appointed supporters to the bench. These statements confirm a thoughtful and a deliberate plan by Mr. Mahama and the NDC to transform Ghana's independent judiciary into a partisan tool favoring their political fortunes. This betrayal of the democratic principles of separation of powers and an insult to the professionalism and competence of our judges who have sworn oath to uphold justice without fear or favor. With current happenings, Ghanaians must take these pronouncements seriously. At the time, a former president and presidential candidate, Mr. Mahama, openly advocated for political infiltration of the judiciary, which poses a grave threat to our constitutional democracy. Mr. Mahama's comments do not promote judicial reform or independence. They reveal a calculated intent to corrupt the judicial process for political gains. The peace, stability, and rule of law we enjoy as a nation must not be sacrificed on the altar of political manipulation. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we echo the legitimate concerns raised by the Ghana Bar Association and other political parties gathered here, such as the LPG, the NDP, and the PMP. The GBA bold resolution at its mid-year conference condemning the suspension and threatening legal action reinforces the seriousness of this constitutional crisis. Their stance affirms what many already know. The president's action is neither rooted in law nor the spirit of democratic principles. We caution that today, if Chief Justice Tokuno, tomorrow it could be any judge who dares to exercise independent judgment. This orchestrated assault on the judiciary threatens to dismantle the very institutional safeguards that preserve our democracy. Ghana cannot and must not descend into the state where political expediency overrides constitutional order. The NPP therefore demands the following: the immediate and unconditional reversal of Chief Justice Tokunu's suspension, full compliance with Article 146 and 296 in all future disciplinary proceedings involving justices of the Supreme Court. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the new Patriotic Party stands fair and unwavering in defense of Ghana's judiciary and the constitutional principles that uphold our democracy. The suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Eraba Esaba Saki Tokuno is not an isolated misstep. It is the most apparent manifestation yet of President Mahama and the NDC government. Grants designed to politicize, infiltrate, and ultimately capture judiciary for partisan control. This must not and will not stand. The 1992 Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It is not subject to the whims of any president, past, present, or future. Justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. We are witnessing the unfolding of a dangerous script authored by President John Dramani Mahama, showing no regard for judicial independence, due process, or constitutional constraint. Mr. Mahama's words have betrayed his diabolical intent, and recent actions only confirms what we have long feared. a calculated effort to dismantle the separation of powers and turn our courts into political tool. But Ghana's democracy is stronger than anyone's ambition. The Chief Justice is the final bulwark between liberty and tyranny, and her unlawful removal signals a red line that must not be crossed. Ladies and gentlemen, we must therefore reiterate our call for the immediate reinstatement of the Chief Justice and the withdrawal of his unconstitutional action. The future of our republic, the confidence of our people in the judiciary, and the very soul of our democracy depends on this. Let it be known that the new Patriotic Party will fiercely and relentlessly resist any attempt to hijack our judicial system for any political gain. We urge Ghanaians across all divide to speak out and defend our constitution. We urge everyone to be part of this historic demonstration on Monday, 5th May. We will gather just opposite the Supreme Court. We will present the first petition at the Supreme Court. We will proceed to Parliament House, where we will present the second petition. And then we will proceed to the Jubilee House to present the final petition. We must all be part of this effort. There is this sinister motive by Mr. Mahama to pack the judiciary, to seek a judicial interpretation of the Constitution, which will interpret Article 62 so that he intends to go a third term. This agenda, inshallah, shall fail. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, the national organizer of the new Patriotic Party, for that very strong and clear message to the executive that we will not accept their deliberate and premeditated attempt to undermine the judiciary of our country. The last hope, the defense of our rights, the protector of the minority. If they are undermined, if they are affected in a manner the NDC is calculating to do, your right, my right, would have vanished under this democracy. And we will resist that. And that's the invitation for you to all to join us on 5th May at the park opposite the Supreme Court for a demonstration that would signal to the executive that our democracy matters more than anyone's politics, matters more than any individual's political ambition. We are determined to let the government understand that the very democracy that brought them to office, they must ensure they protect it and keep it safe for our posterity. Thank you very much, Erin and Abuachi, for that strong message. It is time now to invite the minority leader of the new Patriotic Party caucus in Parliament, the Osahele Alexander Afenyo Martins.
The mighty minority. The mighty minority. I'll say him on the microphone.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. We are here as a mighty minority to also have a bite on these disturbing issues that confront our nation. Before I address the issue of the Chief Justice, let me take you through some disturbing matters that we have witnessed since the NDC assumed the reins of government on the 7th of January 2025. The first thing we heard was the mass dismissal of the youth who have been employed in state-owned enterprises and in the public sector. People who have been employed for over 7 years, 6 years, were suddenly asked to go home. Some go into their offices and they are sacked. Nurses who were recruited last year have been made to go home. Teachers who were recruited and posted have been sacked. That is the state of the NDC government for you. Instead of creating employment opportunities, they are rather creating more unemployment. Now, even with some of these institutions, they now replace some institutional heads with their party faithfuls as part of their resetting agenda. Now, let's come to the issue of Galamsey. Somewhere 2014, the then Minister of Finance, Honorable Setekwe, appeared before Parliament and lamented on the state of the cocoa production in our country. Among the key issues he addressed Parliament on through its Finance Committee was issue of Galamsey. Of course, NPP came into office and made attempt to address this issue. I must admit, we were not successful. The NDC used it as a campaign tool. Today, what do we see? According to organized labor, this is not from MPP. According to organized labor, the Galamsey situation has worsened. And they have now even institutionalized Galamsey by enacting what they call a gold board. What is the essence of gold board? They claim that the gold board is now going to buy equipment for small-scale miners. But you and I know that their intent is not to support any small-scale miner. Their intent is to support Galamseyers. That's exactly what they are doing. And they are saying they're monopolizing the purchase of gold and to regulate it and all. What are they trying to do? Let's go to our military. Our military, Ghana Armed Forces, they've been kept out of politics. From President Kufuor's time all the way to Nana Addo, whom they have so much criticized. Those heads in our military, the generals, were allowed to stay in office when MPP assumed office. Some served for over a year until they themselves retired. But what are we seeing today? There's a complete wipeout at the highest level of the military. They first decided to clear those senior officers, the generals. The CDS, the army commander, and other service chiefs were cleared. Then they added some 15 more. And upon assumption of office, the new CDS now is forcing 2-star generals to all retire. Wow. So again, what they are doing is to make our military, our Ghana Armed Forces, also partisan. When they were in opposition, they complained about taxes that the Ghanaian businessman is suffering. What we see today, apart from the e-levy, all taxes, including levies that we pay at our ports, remain same. They have not changed anything. I'm hereby exposing to you the hypocrisy of the NDC. VAT has not changed. In fact, for the mining companies, they have even increased the taxes, and they say because they are making profit, they have to increase it over and above what they came to meet. Now, ask yourself again about our utility. Electricity tariffs. Now, we are paying more. We are paying more than they came to meet. And even so, Tumso is back. Their other card they are playing is the persecution of NPP appointees. So, to create the impression that they are all righteous, to create the impression that the situation was bad and there was corruption, they've targeted former appointees. I want to assure them that we will never surrender. They can never use this to cow us into self-preservation, to crush the NPP spirit. To enable them achieve this, they now want to control our courts. So what are we seeing? The attempt to sack the Chief Justice. I, on behalf of the Minority Caucus, hereby say that what we're witnessing today under John Mahama-led government is a systematic and calculated assault on the independence of the judiciary. An institution that we all know is the last line of defense for the rule of law, the protection of rights, and the survival of our democratic republic. Today, what we see is intimidation, political interference, and open targeting of judges who are perceived as inconvenient and non-compliant. It is not just unacceptable, it is repugnant to good conscience. The current attacks on the Chief Justice and the broader attempt to politicize the bench must be seen for what they are. And here, our Council of State failed our democracy.
Yes. Yes.
They rehearsed the suspension of the Chief Justice. They got a fake research done, threw it into the air, that majority of Ghanaians want the Chief Justice sacked. Before even the Council of State received the so-called petitions, the NDC papers were all over in town saying that the Chief Justice was going to be suspended. Clearly, they had rehearsed the agenda. And if you look at the petitions, for all that I've read, I find it very unfortunate. In this country, we know that when the president, the first lady, travel, the cost is borne by the states. Same with the Speaker of Parliament. He and his immediate family going on official trip. Why will the official travel of the Chief Justice, which is backed by a judiciary policy, now become a subject matter of a kangaroo investigation? And they claim that she caused financial loss to the state, etc., etc. But I have something to tell our respected judges. Some of them, I am aware, we are aware, that are being promised by the NDC government. Today, it is Tokunu, tomorrow, it may may be them. They should listen and listen well. I want all judges in the country to know that their institution is under attack.
Yes. Tell them.
The NDC government is approaching you, the judges, telling you that, oh, Tokonu does not have a good interpersonal relationship. She is snobbish, she is this, she is that. But I want you to know that if they allow them to use you today, tomorrow they will come after you. Act collective. It is your institution which is under attack. Our demonstration on Monday is not about our party or parties. It's about protecting the institutional integrity of our republic. It's about drawing a line in defense of the Constitution. And it's about telling those in power, you may have your term, but you do not own the state. The framers of our Constitution understood that democracy without an independent judiciary is no democracy at all. That is why we are gathering on Monday, 5th of May, to say enough is enough. To say that the people of Ghana will not sit idly by while their courts are captured. To say that the power may change hands, but the Constitution must always stand. And to the people of Ghana, our fellow countrymen and women, we invite you to join us. This is not just about the few political parties determining to go on the streets. Of course, we are going on a peaceful demonstration. This is not Parliament's fight. It is a fight for every citizen who wants to live in a country where the law is supreme and no man, no matter how powerful, is above the law. We say that there must be an end to the division and the anger of the past. This government must tread with the greatest caution, always keeping tomorrow in mind when taking decisions today, because these decisions may shape future governance. If we continue down this path, we risk creating a culture of retaliatory politics, where successive governments are more focused on settling political scores than solving problems. Last but not the least, it is obvious that the bold attempt by Mr. President to nominate out of the blue 7 judges to the Supreme Court is the first major attempt at all that they have rehearsed, a 3rd term agenda. All that the NDC is doing, all that our president is doing through the advice of the hawks of NDC is to set a 3rd term agenda for his leadership. They think that by packing the judiciary, there will be a smooth road for that 3rd term agenda. Were we not in this country where even 2 Supreme Court nominees, after going through vetting and were supposed to take their approval at the plenary, the same NDC said by adding 2 more judges to the Supreme Court bench, Nana Addo was packing the courts? Was it not the same NDC where that criticized the proposal to even nominate for appointment 5 more judges to the Supreme Court, and as a result, no further step was taken by the Judicial Council? What has changed? We leave it to the good conscience of they themselves. But I want to tell them that we will not relent. We, in Parliament will hold their feet to the fire and fight for the ordinary Ghanaian. Please join us 5 a.m. on Monday the 5th of May on this peaceful demonstration. Thank you very much. God bless our homeland Ghana and make it great and strong.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the minority leader, the Honorable MP for the good people of Efutu. He was ably supported by Nana J. Bafewa, MP for the good people of Mesia South, and also Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaikh, the MP for the good people of Weja Bawe. The message is clear, and I think that the media, you have a good opportunity here to advance this conversation. We are not quite done. Please, if you can maintain your positions. There is a final presentation and summary that is going to come. So please, media, if you just stay put, will be done in the next 15 minutes. Before we do the final summary and the tree rendition of the presentation so far, please, media, please, can you get back to your position? So, hello, I see channel 1. Please, can you get back to position so we can finish the press conference, please? Please. Thank you. We'll call on the chairman of this press engagement, the chairman of the New Patriotic Party's Legal and Constitutional Committee, to possibly summarize the matters that have been raised here, which, in my own view, goes to the heart of the NDC's agenda, President Mahama's agenda, to plot for a third term, and that should worry us. The chairman will give us a summary and a closing remark. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard Ahiagba, Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, both print and electronic, all too soon we have come to the end of this special program. You have heard the various speakers, and it is for you to communicate to Ghanaians in the best way possible what you have heard here. I said it from the outset, and I'll reiterate that this is about Ghana, our beloved country. It is not about the NDC. It's not about the MPP. It's not about the PNP. It is not about the LPG. It is not about the Ghana Union Movement. It is not about any political party. It is about Ghana. Now, let me attempt to just give you a summary of what we want Ghanaians to know. Indeed, the Constitutional Review Commission, which was constituted by His Excellency, the late President John Evans Atta Mills, in 2020, there was an overwhelming clarion call by the majority of Ghanaians for institutional integrity and the independence of the judiciary. This Constitutional Review Commission was set up by President John Evans Atta Mills, and his vice president at that time was none other than our city president, John Dramani Mahama. The message was that there should be institutional integrity and the independence of the judiciary. What I ask is, what is it that has changed? That there is this assault and unmitigated affront to the independence of the judiciary. This independence of the judiciary finds roots in the report of the Watson Commission, the Kuse Committee, and the 1954 Order in Council Constitution, which sets the parameters for the independence of the Constitution and stipulated that a justice of the Supreme Court, or for that matter, a Chief Justice, could only be removed from office under stated misbehavior and infirmity of mind. And this should be supported by 2/3 majority of our parliamentarians in the People's Assembly. This found expression in the 1957 Constitution. It was only in 1960 that there was an aberration where the president was given the power to remove a Chief Justice by the presidential instrument under a seal. On the 24th of February 1966, there was a determined attempt, an effort to once and for all maintain the independence of the judiciary. And this is what we have seen with the 1992 Constitution, an attempt to even raise the bar for the removal of a Chief Justice, i.e. the establishment of a prima facie case. Ladies and gentlemen, I have not seen any petition. Personally, I have not seen any of the petitions. But if I should listen to what those who claim I've seen and are commenting on, I ask myself so many questions. I was troubled when the Director of Communications for the NDC sat on radio and said so many things. The highlight of what he said was the foreign travel of the Chief Justice. When I heard him on radio, in fact, I was alarmed. And I said to myself, if indeed the Chief Justice knew that she was not supposed to embark on that travel with her husband and the daughter, and she did, knowing the Chief Justice for what she is, I thought she had been bewitched. Because if her travel policy did not permit her to travel with her husband and the daughter, why would the Chief Justice do that? But we have all been revealed to the truth that that was the sheer propaganda that was going on to color the Chief Justice black, so that Ghanaians will be fed into their political propaganda. Ladies and gentlemen, We don't need to be told. We don't need to be told what the sitting government has in store for the judiciary. They have showed their hands already. They have showed their hands already. Let us all stand up in solidarity. Let us gather at the park opposite the Supreme Court buildings on Monday, and let us demonstrate for Ghanaians to understand that we don't believe in what the President of the Republic intends doing. We believe in justice, and as we say, justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be manifestly done. Thank you all, and may God bless us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, everyone. The message is clear. There is no questions as to why this is important for us to all come on the 5th of May to demonstrate as citizens, to tell the executive that take off your hands from our judiciary. We are just at the end of it. Let's indulge me 1 second just to make this announcement. You saw a statement this afternoon about the national chairman withdrawing or taking a break from the talk. The only clarification we want to make is that he is taking that break to join the demonstration on the 5th. I have seen others who are spinning that negatively, but we want to be expressly clear that that break the chairman is taking is to allow him to lead us on Monday to take this demonstration and give it all the prominence and importance that it needs to send the message clear to the executive that the NPP and the other political parties will not stand for His Excellency and John Dramani Mahama and the NDC attempt to undermine the judiciary. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. We appreciate your being here, and may God bless our country. May God bless the political parties, and may God bless this fourth republic.
This thing is really off. Alright, so this is GH Brain TV Live, and this is coming from Masalam Down, NPP headquarters, the Save the Judiciary Demo press conference. Thank you very much for joining, and as they said, on the 5th of May, that's this coming Monday, the demonstration will be coming on live at the Supreme Court, the four courts of the Supreme Court. I'll be coming your way with an update. Just follow us on socials at GHBrain_ on Facebook, on GHBrain_ on TikTok and on Twitter as well. And let's keep it intact. Thank you, and thank you for watching. Okay, so this Nene 1950. Hey, Nene, Charlie, say something, bro. Yo. Charlie, what do you make of? What do you do? What do you make of? Charlie. All right, so that was 2057 news. You can check him up. You can follow him on all socials. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.